All right, the final section that we're going to cover here is the odds you are working with. So I will often get questions around, I've been trying for this long, or I'm in this state, like what would you recommend? Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And there's never a crystal ball for that, but we do have some data here on average, how long does it take and what do these things look like? And also based on the makeup of your team, the likelihood of raising, as well as what that raise might look like. And the purpose of this research that we do is because we can't change it, DocSend as a company, but we do want to create a baseline and measure against that. So hopefully over time, just as a startup ecosystem and community, we can help make things more fair, more transparent. And we think the first step is just getting a baseline on what things look like today. So this includes both US and international. US numbers are higher than international typically for the amount raised. So what we're seeing here is all male, about 500,000 for the pre-seed, all female, about 200,000, and mixed gender, the most at 766,000 raised on average for pre-seed. And you can also see here kind of like number of meetings. So, all female teams getting the fewest number of meetings, mixed gender teams getting the most number of meetings. Gender does play a notable role in fundraising, and I don't want to conjecture too much on what's going on here. Again, we're just commenting on the baseline. But in 2019, all female teams raised about 30% less than all male teams. And in 2020, that actually became exacerbated and it was 60% less. Keep in mind though, that mixed gender teams do raise more than either of these categories. So that's at least something. But if you're at the stage where you haven't put your founding team in place, like this can be informative, that having a mixed gender team, either if you're all male or all female, like making it a mixed gender founding team will be helpful for you. And if you're already kind of got your founders in place, I don't think this information should tell you to go back to the drawing board and add a new co-founder or change things around. These are just numbers to be aware of as you go through the process. In terms of where it's taking place, I think this is nothing but a good trend in the sense that pre-seed is taking place less on the West Coast, that primarily being Silicon Valley, LA, Seattle, and you're seeing more founding teams get funded in other parts of the United States. So Northeast has gone up by 23%, the South up by 10%, the Midwest up by 7%. And New York has been taking off as a startup scene for quite a while. And this is just accelerating that. And again, as you see companies exit and go public, that money flows back into the ecosystem, and typically it stays in the geography where it came from, both because the people, the talent, the money is there. And so New York is really growing as an ecosystem. Boston's also great. But then in the South, you see areas like Atlanta, like really taking off, and you see some real notable winners in Atlanta. And so as a founding team, this is helpful because it's no longer the case that you have to move to Silicon Valley. Also look at the rest of the world, up almost 40%. So, I always say that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And it looks like opportunity is getting a little bit more equally distributed, which is awesome. Also worth noting that if you're in Atlanta, your cost basis as a company and as you hire people, way better than your cost basis in San Francisco. So you can just make money go further. And it also depends on what specialties you need. If you're an AI company and you need like ex-Google machine learning engineers, then you might need to go to Menlo Park or be in the Bay Area. But for a lot of companies, you can start that company anywhere, and investors are increasingly willing to fund those companies independent of geography.